Hello, happy new year. It is March 1st and it is officially my New Year's Day, which is super, super exciting. Do I wish that I had a little bit more energy on this New Year's Day of mine? Yes, yes, I do. But alas, I do not have energy today, but I am here, I am showing up, and I'm really, really excited to see if this new schedule that I have put together for myself actually ends up being exactly what I have been looking for gosh, however many, who knows how many years. Words are hard today. Just so you know, words are hard today. I had to, I kid you not, film the same video twice today because I managed to finish the first video. And then as I went downstairs to do a wardrobe change, I went to the bathroom and I happened to look in the mirror and I noticed that there was this gray smudge on my face that I did not see in the viewfinder, so I couldn't stop myself and go fix it. I didn't know it was there until after the fact. And so the video that I had already stumbled through, I had to stumble through again. So words are hard today, but we are here and it is all good. Happy New Year, my friends. And I see that Lissa and Andy are both here. Hello. Um, Talking about how many nines are between 1 and 100. Lissa has to go get all technical on us. It's fine. So, my friends, I am super excited that you are here to spend this next hour with me as we talk a little bit about what this new year means, what the schedule that I am planning on holding is. And whatever else comes up in conversation. Of course, it is Ask Me Anything weekly community chat where you can ask all sorts of different questions and I'll answer because I'm an open book. Hi, Julie. Good to see you. So let's get started with highs and lows. And also, you have to forgive me if I sound a little stuffy at the moment. Where's the highs and lows button? There it is. I just, right before we started, you ever get like those allergy sneezes where all of a sudden like it comes on and it's like achoo, 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 like real heavy? I had that right before I had to hit go. And so now I feel all like sniffly because it hasn't cleared itself out yet. I'm a little bit of a hot mess today, y'all. I'm a little bit of a hot mess. Oh my goodness. So, highs and lows. My high actually is that we ended up going to a friend's house last night. This wasn't even does this count? Does this count as my goal? I don't think it does. I had a specific couple in mind. Oh, you guys don't even know my goals yet. My goals video is coming out tomorrow. My monthly reset video is coming out. But one of my goals that I put on here was to make plans with friends and then execute them. And I guess technically yesterday wasn't March 1st, so it doesn't count. Tried to find a loophole and I didn't do it. But my high is that we went to a movie night with one of the couples from our small group. They just, casually said, we're going to have a movie night on Tuesday for anybody who wants to come. And Eric and I were like, well, we should go. We should go. We should go and, get to know these people. And we didn't know if they were inviting the group with a group that they had already planned to get together with. We didn't know if it was just the Bible study group. We didn't know. Some of the people in our Bible study are so young that one of them is currently working on graduating college. And this is the couples whose house we went to, and they actually live on a college campus near us. And so Eric was like, we're going to be like the old farts. Do we even go? And he's like, no, we should go. Like we talked all the way through it. We're like, no, let's go. I'm so glad we did because we were the only couple that went. And so we got one-on-one time with them, which was amazing. We got to sit and talk and get to know this lovely young married couple, meet their beta fish, and get to know that we have quite a bit in common with them, actually, which was lovely. And then we ended up watching the movie. They picked out several different Netflix movies that they thought maybe could appeal to anybody that showed up. We ended up watching the cartoon animated movie called The Bad Guys. I don't know if you've heard of it. The Big Bad Wolf is like the leading player in it. And it's kind of the description on Netflix was Ocean's 11 for children. It was actually really funny. We were chuckling. We were laughing the whole time, but we had a great time. We had plans midweek. We got out of the house. It was my first time out of the house since last Monday, thanks to all of the snow. And it was good. It was very, very good. So that was my high. And my low is definitely that I had to re-record that video today because that was obnoxious. Obnoxious. Hi, Rosie. Good to see you. Highs are hard at the moment. Bad mental health day, but Saturday was fun. Ended up going to the movies and out to dinner. And zero anxiety being around people. That's absolutely a high. That's you found one. You found one. Saturday was your high. That was super, super easy. Super easy. They don't have to be overcomplicated. They really don't. No celebration is too little. And so that was definitely worth celebrating, which is really, really good. Jaw pain and anxiety around food and tracking in social situations. Yeah. That's a hard thing. Oh, that's funny. I just downloaded this new app that I heard about, and it's like a time organizer task thing, and it runs up at the top of my toolbar, up at the top where, like, where it says like file, edit, view, etc. On the other side, on the right side, there's all like the tools, like your Wi-Fi signal, your Bluetooth, and everything. And it actually, because it's synced to my Google Calendar, it's telling me that I have 53 minutes left in my weekly live stream. Which I think is really interesting. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. Happy Wednesday. Yes, and knowing you, it has to be you have to be willing to do B+ tracking. You have to be willing to not track perfectly, and that just is what it is. The success is going to come. Most definitely, the success on the scale will come if you're super rigid. The success in life will come when you let the reins go just a little bit. When you let it go, as long as you track something and it's a night out and it doesn't happen every single time, it doesn't freaking matter. It doesn't matter. What matters, especially for you, since being involved in social situations is super important and part of your personal development and growth, is prioritizing getting into those social situations. That is 100% the priority. If the priority was social situation or perfectly tracking your food, social situation should win every single time. Every single time. Hi, Kim. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for all the sunny emojis brightening up the screen. I love it. So there's my 2 cents on that. If anybody else has any highs or lows they would like to share, feel free. And also, if anybody has any questions, I told you words are hard. If anyone has any questions that they would like to ask, topics that they would like discussed, I didn't check right before I came on. I normally do, and I did not, to see if anybody asked other questions tonight. There was one question that was asked that I'm just like, I don't even care to answer that question. So there's that. Let's see. What questions do I have here? No, nothing new. Okay, cool. So whatever we want to chat about is what's on the docket today. But first, for me, I think the frustration less about the accuracy and more about how time-consuming it is to find generic volume entries. I can eyeball 2 tablespoons of something. Well, isn't there like cups or ounces? Like, you have a general idea of what like 3 ounces of chicken looks like, right? You can take a best guess. Just take a best guess. That's all you can do, is just take a best guess and move on. Sometimes it'll surprise you and you'll be right, and sometimes you'll be wildly wrong, and it's fine. It all evens out in the end. This is my philosophy anyway. So before we dive into my new year, I thought I would share with you. I want to see if the pictures got pulled in. They did not, but I think I can share this with you anyway. We're gonna try something new. I made the best boxed brownies ever yesterday. Ever. I can't take credit for it. I got the idea off of a blog because I had a hunch that what I've been doing, what is not even trending right now, but what has been shared a lot lately in elevating your boxed mixes for cakes and cookies and things like that, is doing things like swapping out the vegetable oil for, I don't know, real butter. Crazy. Bakeries use things like real butter. And so why would we not use real butter in our baking, even if we're baking from a box, right? So I had this idea that it has to be a legitimate trade-off, right? Just 1 for 1, whatever your oil is, swap it for butter. Had to be. So I Google it, and I come up with like this lazy girl brownie recipe thing. And it had three changes that made it go from like, oh my gosh, this is a great box mix to holy moly, best brownies ever. And then to top it off, I changed the baking time on it. So I'm going to try and do this thing that I've never tried to do before with my streaming service. Let's see how it goes. Can I do this? Ta-da! Do y'all see it? Do you all see the pan of brownies? Do you see the pan of brownies? I'm just sharing my photo thing. This is my pan of brownies. And yes, you see salt on top. So the three changes that I made to these brownies were: one, swap out the oil for butter. Do it. You'll never go back. You'll never go back. Two, I swapped out the water. It was a 1/4 cup of water. I swapped out the water for coffee. Yes, coffee. And I even used instant coffee because I wasn't about to make a whole nother thing of coffee just to get a 1/4 cup of coffee. So I found like a Cafe Bustelo coffee thing and like a little pod thing, and made that and used just a 1/4 cup of that and dumped the rest because I didn't particularly care for the actual coffee, but it would work for what I was using it for. And then you top it with the oh gosh, Morton's. Is it Morton's? There's a specific brand. It comes in a green box. I think it's Morton's, and it's flaky sea salt. And so that's what everybody uses when you have like the sea salt crumble on top. That's what people are using. So I finally, months ago, broke down and purchased a box of these things. And I love it. I love having it as an option to sprinkle on both sweet and savory things. Just a little extra flaky sea salt. It's absolutely to die for. And then I went to one of my baking people that I go to for coaching all the time is Broma Bakery online. And I knew she had a reel out about how to properly bake your baked goods and brownies specifically. And it talked about how if you're sticking your if you're baking to time, they're probably overbaked, right? They're probably overbaked. And oh, interesting. Butter with moistness versus chewiness. Well, let me tell you what, Rosie, look at that chewiness. Oh my gosh, it was the most so if you like cakey brownies, if you like fluffier brownies, drier brownies, you won't like this. This is for those of us that like them ooey, gooey, chewy, oozing. That's what we like. And so that's what they are. So I used my silicone baking pan for the first time, and you're supposed to knock the temperature down a little bit when you do that. So I baked them at 325, and instead of like 30, I think I baked them at the lower temperature at the minimum amount of time that they needed. So when I pulled them out in the middle, they still weren't like, when you stick a toothpick in, the toothpick did not come out completely clean. It came out mostly clean, but not completely clean. Because if you get too entirely clean, you've gone too far. You've gone too far. So I pulled them out early, and y'all, wouldn't you know it? Best brownies I've ever made. So good. So I let them cool. I managed to be able to flip them out of the thing and get them onto the thing and cut them all beautifully. And I was so proud of those brownies. So proud of them. They were devoured. There were 4 of us and the brownies are gone. I just ate the last one for dessert after dinner. And we only returned with 2 of them. With 2, I chopped them up into like itty bitty little squares and they're gone. And I'm not sorry because they were so good. So I will never be making a brownie mix any other way ever again because it was just absolutely delightful. And what a fun way to elevate something that's $1.50 at the grocery store, so good. So good. So that's my brownie saga. And I'm super, super pleased with it. If you search lazy girl brownies, you'll find the exact details. But like I said, swap oil for butter or butter for oil, whichever direction that goes. Use butter and swap the water for coffee and put a little bit of sea salt on top and you'll never go back. You'll never go back. It was so good. So that's my brownie story, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's talk a little bit about my new year. Happy New Year to me. I should have worn my party sweater or something because it is New Year's Day. And like I said at the beginning, I do not feel like super energized and party. I don't even know why I don't feel energized and party. I am so thankful that Wednesday is rest day because when I woke up this morning, I slept fine. We got to bed a little bit later than normal, but I was still in bed for 8 hours. I don't understand why, like, my muscles hurt. My muscles hurt and I'm tired. Butter is denser than oil, but richer. Yes. Well, and it's interesting because when you make a regular cake, don't you use butter? Like, or are there like homemade recipes where you actually use vegetable oil instead of butter? Because that I don't actually know. But my assumption would be like if you're making your own cupcake recipe or cookie recipe or whatever it is, you would use butter instead of oil. Um, I know I've heard of like olive oil cakes. I've heard of those. So obviously you use oil specifically for that. But I don't know. I am such a fan of butter that in my brain it makes sense to use the butter instead of the oil. But yeah, I guess you get different results based on what you're doing. But oh, so good. I've never oh wait, I have oil in Italian. Interesting. Um, I have we have. We for Alice's birthday, I think my sister did the cake mixes, but instead of oil, used butter for the cake mixes and did the whole like elevate your cake mix to bakery quality. And it was butter instead of oil for that too. Um, but it's my new year. Why am I starting the new year on March 1st? Because this is the first month that I actually feel like I can do stuff with my life that's not going to be interrupted by something in some way in a dramatic fashion. As many of you know, I was in Florida up until mid-February, and hanging out at my in-laws in Florida is not exactly an environment that helps me get any of my goals done, to be completely honest with you. And I love being down there, don't get me wrong, but it's very, very different than being in my own space, in my office that I've curated to look a certain way, my stuff, all of my stuff, where I need it, blah, 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 blah. Nobody asking, are you available to watch something or catering dinner around 4 different people instead of just 2 and all of these things. So I finally was like, you know what? Forget January 1st. We're over January 1st. And for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be over January 1st because January 1st for me is a myth. It's not day one of any sort of goal getting. It is the tail end of a holiday season that was probably really involved and very exhausting. So from here on out, I'm like, we don't need to worry about starting on January 1st. Maybe we start in February, or maybe we start in March, like this year. And so here is the plan. Here is the laid out situation for my ideal year. We go hard March, April, May, June. 4 months, right? 4 months. That's a third of the year. Then July, summertime, where I tend to kind of hit my first real burnout of the year anyway, because summertime, I just want to be outside and doing things and I don't want to be cooped up. Summer and July is going to be kind of a break, kind of a breather. So, but what I want to do is I want to plan ahead in such a way where on your side of the computer, it's not going to look like I took any time off at all. Right? I'll still show up for Wednesday live streams. I'll still do the Patreon stuff. I'll still do the scheduled obligations. But things like content creation and blog posts and email newsletters and all of those things will be, in an ideal world, created in advance so I don't have to do them unless I want to. I can see how like a vlog, a day in the life or a weekend in the life of summer in Minneapolis would be a really great vlog to do or something like that, something fun to do, but I won't feel pressured to do any of those things. So the month of July, and we tend to travel in July anyway. So the month of July is going to be one of those, a break month, a breather, a take a step back. So we have 4 months on, 1 month off, and then we go back to 4 months on. So then we have August, September, October, and November. And then by the end of November, boom, we're back in the holiday season. And I can once again take that step back and do less like I did in July. And hopefully this does 2 things. One, and most importantly, prevents burnout, allows me to keep going because I'm sick of getting burnt out when I try and do all the things. One of the first things I'm doing is not trying to do all the things this year. And I have my priorities set in place, which is super, super important. Prioritizing what is the number one thing that you need to focus your energy and efforts on is super, super important. And as a reminder, my priority this year is health, weight loss, fitness, getting stronger, all of those things. And so that is number one. But of course, content creation is very close behind. But I have to remember that I have my number one. I have my thing that is picked out, and that is priority. And I'm already at a point where I'm trying to, where perfectionism is kind of trying to poke its way in and be like, hey, you're supposed to do this thing. But like I said, today, even I was so tired. My step count is probably dismal because I did not go on the elliptical today. Oh, never mind. It's not dismal. I'm at 7,400. I was expecting a number like in the 4 and 5s. I don't know how I got to 7,500, honestly, because I was really, really behind today. So actually, that makes me feel a lot better. Wow. Because I couldn't. And I was like, you know what? I need to be computer focused today anyway. So, and like, I can tell when my body is like, it's hurting. It's hurting, but like, not like aching. Although as I moved, like moving today has been hard, but climbing up the stairs is an excellent indicator of where my body is at on any given day. There are days where I can climb up and down the stairs, no problem. And then there are days, when we've all experienced it, that burning sensation when you're either running or you're squatting or whatever, that burn through the quadriceps, you know what I'm talking about? I will get that halfway up the flight of stairs. And today is one of those days. And I also get that sensation. Someone explained this to me. I don't know that you'll be able to, but someone explained this to me. Is it normal for you to get that burning sensation in your quadriceps when you're, just bending over and like bending down a little bit to like get the laundry out of the dryer? I don't know why, but that position of like bending just enough to get screaming, I might as well be doing wall sits for a minute and a half. My legs are screaming. I actually have to stop, stand up, take a deep breath to get oxygen to my muscles before I can finish emptying the dryer. I don't understand it. And this is why my health and my strength specifically is one of my key priorities this year, because I'm tired of feeling like this. And if there is anything I can do about it, big if, because it is entirely possible that this state of my muscles is just my lot in life because of my CMT, and that's okay. But I cannot confirm that until I try to make it different, right? All that to say, today was oh my gosh, my legs are burning all the way up the stairs type of day. So I knew that it was in my best interest to actually rest today. And which is good because it's rest day, but I have been getting on the elliptical almost every day just to get some steps in, and I did not do that today. So I'm still trying to find that balance between perfectionism and being, I don't even want to say kind to myself, but like I have to remember that I'm a disabled human being and that sometimes I need more rest. And this is kind of similar. It's kind of a parallel, but also maybe not. Today, I don't know if you saw on Instagram, I took a picture of the front cover of Quest magazine, which is the Muscular Dystrophy Association's magazine. And on it, the headlining article was "The Truth About Nutrition and Neuromuscular Disease." When I tell you, I did a happy dance when I read that cover when we got home at 10:30 last night because we had gotten the mail. I was like, look, they finally did something about it. And they finally said something about it. And so this morning over coffee, I sat down and I read that article. And shocker of all shockers, there's nothing that I didn't already know in there. Like, it's still basic nutritional information. One thing that they do emphasize is the importance of carbohydrates in your diet. The importance of carbohydrates, which I was like, duh. And I learned that, sidebar, we got to put a pin in that because I learned that the hard way this week. And, protein is most important, especially for people with muscle wasting disease, because if we do not have enough protein in our systems, and this is applicable to everybody, ladies and gentlemen, if you are on a weight loss journey and you do not have enough protein in your system, your body is going to find that protein to use it somewhere. And guess where it's coming from? Your existing muscle. which is why nutrition coaches push and push and push people to eat more protein, because you want to have enough protein in that body where your body doesn't ever have the audacity to try and take your muscle from you, because it will. It will. Use my after pictures from 2012 as a prime example of that. I was skin and bones in places because I didn't have a whole lot of muscle to begin with. And I guarantee you I was not eating enough protein. I guarantee you that was the case. And I looked really, really sickly skinny because of it. So that was information that was in there. So we need the protein, we need the fats. They did emphasize the saturated versus the unsaturated fats. One thing that I thought was interesting, but I did not necessarily agree with, was 7% or less of your fats should come from saturated fat. I did the math, and for my daily protein or my daily fat intake, that was like, I don't know, 7 grams of fat. Let me see. I want to make sure I'm being accurate. 0.07. Whoa, that's not how you get the right number. Times 0.07. Oh no, it's like 4. It's like 4 grams of fat should be from saturated fat. And so that is definitely something that I'm like, but it did make me think about lessening the amount of saturated fat in my diet. But how does this tie into the muscle burning and having to listen to my body thing? So they emphasized a couple of times, one of the things that many people, or some people with varying neuromuscular diseases, have problems with is swallowing. Swallowing is a big thing for a lot of people, and it's a big issue. So, for example, they flat out said, salads and lettuce and vegetables are a great way to get your fibrous carbs and everything. However, if you have problems with swallowing, lettuce is probably not the healthy option for you. And so it was literally like, salads are good until they're not. And it was an excellent reminder that we all can actually take from this, is like, things are good unless they're not good for you, unless they're dangerous for you. It's like people saying that like dairy is great. I love dairy, but I also know somebody who is wildly allergic to dairy. So for him, dairy not so great, right? So something to keep in mind. So for me, I'm like, 10,000 steps, go, 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 go. Get on the elliptical, go, 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 until my body says, whoa, maybe just don't go today. You can go tomorrow, but don't go today. And so that was that's still part of the balance and things that I'm learning to adapt and adjust to over time, which is really, it's interesting. I am in real time learning to take better care of myself overall, in that I'm giving myself more grace with the disability and whatever. But it's also wildly frustrating when you're somebody that's like, I want to have the energy to go downstairs and do this thing every single day, and I don't some days. And so I'm fighting that frustration for perfection, which of course doesn't exist. So I'm preaching to myself, right? And the grace of being like, actually, it's okay. You can just do it tomorrow. It's nothing horrible is going to happen to you. It's fine. It's an interesting situation to be in. It's an interesting situation to be in. But let me tell you about my not so awesome, but also really awesome, experience that I had earlier this week, that taught me a very important lesson about myself that I had never, ever entertained as a possibility before, ever. And I don't know why I've never entertained it as a possibility. For those of you who don't know, diabetes runs in my family, right? My mom and my dad and my youngest sister and my grandpa, they all have it. And so I've always been on alert for high blood sugar issues. And I've never had them, knock on wood. My blood sugar and my A1C is perfect. And it actually, from between last year and this past year, it's entirely possible. And here's where I have the hard time, Ken. I'll be completely honest with you. I find that my body, my weight, and maybe I just have to let it go. Maybe I just have to let it go and do the steps and go with the long haul rather than the short haul for a while. It's entirely possible that I need to do that. But I find that my body, for better or for worse, I could be eating the right foods, but if I'm not moving, that scale doesn't budge, because whatever that range of Because we've discovered like I have a stellar maintenance range. I could eat, so 1,700 calories or 2,100 calories, and that can all be considered like maintenance for me because my body is dumb and I don't have a proper metabolism. But what that has proved to me is like I had a stellar weigh-in last week. Why? I firmly believe that it is because I hit those 10,000 steps every single day. With that movement, it's always one for one. If I'm eating well and getting the steps in, the scale goes down. If I'm eating well and not getting the steps, the scale doesn't always go down. And it's so frustrating for that to be a possibility of like, does my body really need me to move that much in order to flush out whatever it needs to flush out to lose weight? And it's insane to think about. One of these days, mark my words, I know that there is a place around here. I just have to suck it up and do it. There's a DEXA Fit around here where you can go and get your body scanned, but they also have an RMR test, resting metabolic rate test. And the calculations and stuff that I do in my coaching are great, but they're calculations based on a mathematical equation. And an RMR test that you can go and get, and it costs like $150, but you can go and get one if you can find the place, actually will tell you what your metabolism is, what you're metabolizing in real time. And I feel like at some point in the not too distant future, I'm probably going to suck it up and go get one just so I know, just so I have peace of mind. It is entirely possible that silly thing comes back and actually tells me that my BMR, my RMR is exactly where the calculator said it was going to be. And then we just got to figure out what else is going on. But there's also the possibility that it tells me that my RMR is way lower than what I anticipated. And after I know that for sure, I can calculate all of my macros and everything accordingly with that new number, that accurate number, and go from there. But I don't know. Like, good old NEAT, I know. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And for me, I've noticed it's not about the workout. It's not about the hour workout. It's about consistently getting the 10,000 steps. For me, the NEAT is what does it. It's the magic key. I mean, it's the magic key for everybody, right? One of the guaranteed ways to boost your metabolism is to walk more. That is a guarantee. Go watch Jordan Syatt's video. If you trust Jordan Syatt, which everybody should, that's literally what he says. One of the surefire ways to boost your metabolism is to walk more because that increases your NEAT, which increases your calorie burn. So it's silly, it's dumb, but it is what it is. So what was I saying? My experience. I was housewife Mondaying it up like a champion on Monday. I was having a great time, bouncing around, blah, 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 blah. That's where the strength training works really comes into play. I believe you can build muscle and with the muscle. Yes. Yes. Yes, and for sure, if I do need to decrease the steps, but I can still go lift, then that's a thing. And maybe that's what I do. I'm going to see how I wake up tomorrow, and I'm going to see how what I'm about to say, the changes that I'm working on making, based on Monday's experience, see how those things play together and go from there. And if I find that every week I'm just drained by 10,000 steps, because I don't think I got 10,000 steps over the weekend either. I got closer to 7 both days, which I was like, you know what? It's not even March 1st yet. Let's see how it goes. But if I'm going hard Monday, Tuesday, and by Wednesday I'm toast, then something's got to give. And I got to learn. I got to figure out what that is, right? Got to figure out what that is. So we'll see. We'll see what it ends up looking like. And it might look like fewer steps. Maybe the goal is 7,000 to 8,000 steps and more focus on just make sure you get your strength training in. That's entirely possible too. Because that's definitely one of my priorities, because the exact wording of my goals is to become my fittest and strongest self. Hey, look, that's not in reverse today. Hey, you guys can read these. Look at that. So I'm cleaning, I'm prepping, I'm cooking lunch. I made my husband and I really lean and clean stir-fry bowls for lunch this week. 99% lean ground turkey, heavy protein, vegetables, a little bit of rice for me, a little bit more for him. And in the middle of prepping that, like I had just finished it, and all of a sudden I started to feel awful. I got so nauseous and I got so dizzy. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And then I sat down. I sat down and I continued to feel nauseous and dizzy and terrible and kind of like foggy headed or whatever. And then my chest started to get tight. And I was like, oh my God, am I having a panic attack? Am I having a completely unnecessary panic attack? Because it's not like I was in any sort of stressful situation I could think of. I literally spent the entire day cleaning the house and being happy little Betty homemaker. And so I'm like, what is going on? So of course, I did what any proper human would do when they're having some crazy, weird health symptoms. I Googled them. I Googled what causes dizziness and nausea at the same time because they both came on at the same time. And I'm taking guesses for anybody who hadn't heard me tell the story yet this week. But so I Googled it. And of course, panic attack was one of the first things that came up. Panic attack, anxiety attack, because it was dizziness, nausea, chest tightness. I sat down, I took my pulse on my thing, and my pulse was a little bit higher than normal. And then I actually took the EKG thing twice to make sure nothing was funky. Everything, like other than a slightly elevated heart rate, everything was fine. There was no like AFib or anything like that. So I'm like, what in the world is going on? So I kept looking. And then there were two other possibilities. I was like, well, what are the symptoms of low blood pressure? Because I am somebody who also notoriously has a lower, not like low, like it's bad, but just a lower blood pressure. I've never had high blood pressure problems. And guess what? The symptoms of low blood pressure are fatigue and dizziness and sometimes nausea. I'm like, okay, cool. And then the last thing that popped up was actually low blood sugar. And I actually didn't think about it at the time. I'm getting my things out of order. I didn't think about it at the time. I sat down with my food and I was so nauseous that I was only able to eat like a quarter of the food. I'm like, I just don't want it. Food is awful to me right now. Everything is awful to me right now. Ugh. So I did what any self-respecting individual would do when she needs to go and get calories. I went to the pantry and I grabbed a can of Nerdy Nuts out of the pantry and I grabbed a spoon. And I grabbed the chocolate chipper Nerdy Nuts and I took 2 heaping spoonfuls of Nerdy Nuts and I ate them. And I sat back down and I was like, I'm just going to sit here and poke at my phone for a few minutes and see if I can't get it to go away. Not even 5 minutes later, y'all, I felt better. It was like the fog had lifted, the dizziness went away, my stomach started to settle. And I went, could it be? And I Googled the symptoms of low blood sugar. And guess what? Nausea, dizziness, shortness of breath, tightness in your chest. I was like, ding, 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 ding. We have a winner because food solved the problem. I needed to get, so I'm really glad that I grabbed the peanut butter because I knew it had quick carbs and protein and fat in it all at once, which is why I grabbed the Nerdy Nuts. Nerdy Nuts is that really trending peanut butter right now that's got like all sorts of stuff in it. So the chocolate one had extra sugar in it. And exactly, Julie, exactly. I needed a quick hit of sugar. And that's what the Nerdy Nuts delivered. So I was like, oh, I'm not somebody who has to worry about high blood sugar. I'm somebody that has to worry about low blood sugar. And so, of course, this is, in the beginning of week 2 of being on weight loss plan and restrictive calories and all of those things. And what naturally gets restricted when I'm upping my protein and restricting my calories? Carbohydrates. My carbohydrates get restricted. So I hadn't been eating enough carbs to keep my blood sugar up, to keep it up. And which was interesting because last week I went and I assessed the situation. I looked at my tracker and I'm like, well, what the heck? I felt great last week. But in my weekly weigh-in, remember how I said I ate over my carbs almost every day last week. I was lifting hard, I was working hard, and I was eating enough carbohydrates. And that day I had not. Over the weekend, I ate more fat, more protein. And Monday I ate fewer carbs. And that's what happened. And so I learned, for real experience, I know this, I preach this. Common knowledge states carbs are important. Carbs are so important. My body gave me the really not so subtle message that carbs are actually really important. And so how is this going to change things? Well, for one, I actually upped my calories a little bit because I said I was going to be a little bit more restrictive for Lent. I can't. I have to up my calories because I need to make sure I'm getting enough carbohydrates throughout the day. And because if I don't, bad things happen, apparently. And it's made me wonder, it has made me go back in time and reflect on every single time that I have felt not awesome lately. And it has made me wonder if every single time I have felt not awesome lately has been because of low blood sugar. Because how many times is it that I'm like, oh, I'm so tired today. I'm so tired today. All I want to do is eat the carbohydrates. And then finally, when I eat the carbohydrates, my energy comes back. And then I'm good for the rest of the day. How many of those times is it that I have had a hypoglycemic episode and I have had no idea? It really made me want a continuous glucose monitor. That's like my next step. Have you guys heard of these things? It's like my next step in like when I have extra money to burn, that's what I want to burn it on. People are wearing these continuous glucose monitors on their arms, right? And then you can look at their phone and at any given time be told what their blood sugar is. So if as you eat, as you do life, you can watch your blood sugar spikes and your flows and your whatever. And I heard about it through Kelly LeVeque from Body Love and Body Love Every Day, because her whole shtick, her whole nutritional philosophy is keeping your blood sugar balanced. So she actually is an investor, I think, in one of these continuous glucose monitor companies called Levels. And I really want to try it. It's really expensive. It's really expensive. We're talking like a $200 a year fee to like have the service. And then to get the products, it's like $200 a month. Like it's not cheap. It's not cheap. But man, it would be valuable information, wouldn't it? So I had to change things around. And now I'm actually making sure just these last couple of days that I'm eating carbs. So I've actually had 2 breakfasts every morning. I've been having a healthy eating on the go bar first thing in the morning before my coffee. Like it's a quick hit of carbs, protein, and fat, super balanced, super clean, delicious. So I've been eating that first thing in the morning, if I'm hungry or not, just to get carbs into my system. You reported a comment? Can I figure out who and fix it? Did you? I don't know whose comment you reported. I have no idea because I can't see the actual live stream. I'm on a streaming software, but I can probably fix it. Let's see. Let's go look. Let's journey over to YouTube. Let's journey over pinned chat. Ooh, there's something new and exciting. It doesn't look like there's anything crazy over here. You're good, Rosie. You're good. I've seen things on them. I know it's a bit of a controversy around them. What's the controversy? Why do you think I have one every single day? I know they're perfectly balanced, but like I'm just not hungry first thing in the morning. But now that I'm like, oh shoot, I need to make sure that I actually keep my blood sugar elevated, like not high. You don't want it high, but apparently if I'm prone to these dips, even if I don't have a high blood sugar and it comes crashing down, then shoot, I really need to focus because I had for breakfast, I had a beautifully balanced breakfast that you would think would not have caused any problems whatsoever. I can tell you exactly the macronutrients that I had for breakfast that day. Today, yesterday, Monday. My breakfast was 478 calories. 478 calories. This is including 2 scoops of collagen protein. It was 65 grams of protein, 65, 14 grams of fat, and 29.2 carbohydrates. So like it was crazy protein heavy, but apparently that was not enough carbohydrates for me. So now I have to figure out what the ebb and flow of my meals is supposed to be, because on the one hand, I'm sitting here like this is all, you're going to get the ramblings of like everything that's been going through my mind the last 3 days. Just today, I was talking with my mother-in-law about Kelly LeVeque and her Fab4 smoothie, as I'm trying to encourage her to make smoothies out of more than just fruit, because that's not helping her hunger, her weight loss, or anything by just having a smoothie made of fruit. And so I was explaining to her the whole Fab4 thing, which of course made me bust out my Fab4 books and made me go, oh, I kind of want to try like a week of Fab4 eating again. Like that would be fun. I feel really good when I do it. That would be fun. So I started flipping through recipes. And of course, Kelly LeVeque's philosophy is 3 meals a day, maybe a snack in between lunch and dinner. if you need it. And, relatively low carb overall, not like eliminating carbs by any means, but like your carbs are fruits and vegetables and rice and things like that. I guess with the rice, I was looking through the recipes. She actually has some decent, like everything. There's often things that have rice and stuff in them, salads for lunch, all that. And so, like, I'm like, oh, I really like. I kind of want to do this. I think this would be fun. I think this would be good for me nutritionally. All of those things. But then, of course, I'm like, do I have to freaking eat every 4 hours or 3 hours just to make sure that I don't have another one of those episodes? I don't know. I'm buying these, using these for fun when diabetics who need things like medical devices are having a hard time getting them. Oh, that's the same thing for the weight loss medication, though, too. The weight loss medication that's out there is actually for diabetics, and people that just want to lose weight is taking it from people who actually need it for like insulin resistance problems and diabetes problems. But everyone's like, no, let's just take this shot that's going to do a whole bunch of wacky things. And I know people that are on it. And who it's helping. But I also know that there are people that are just hoping it's a quick fix, that it's not, because I've also heard about a lot of the side effects. But is it like, does it take away from them if there's actually like other companies, like they're not using the diabetic version of it? Like there's the medical version, then there's like this company Levels. Like, is the fact that Levels exist taking away from the supply of a completely different company? Have you tried this monitoring? No, I haven't. I'm thinking about it. I didn't realize there were so many controversies. I was really thinking about getting a glucose monitor. Can you get them at Target? I've never gone hunting for glucose monitors before, and just doing in her second book, Kelly LeVeque actually has a protocol for how to track your blood sugar for like 5 days, just to see. I don't know. I might. What do those even cost, y'all? I don't know. I'm an easygoing gal, but I agree with Lisa. It's a lot of marketing. Interesting. I love the idea, though. I love like the science behind it. Like it's like having the the continuous heart rate monitor on when you're working out or whatever. Like I love the idea of being like, and it's a way to avoid the finger prick. Like, let's be honest, I can do the finger prick, and that's probably what I should do. I should do the finger prick. Oh, really? Seriously? $20 on Amazon? Kim, why do you spend my money like that? Can you send me a link? Glucose monitor. Or what is it, like glucose? Oh, there's glucose monitor kit. Oh, and they have all sorts of them. One Touch Ultra is $20. Well, I just might have to get one, because that makes a lot of sense to me. Just like track it for a little while and see. But I love the idea. Well, I was gonna say, I love the idea of being able to watch the graph after you eat your meal, but you can just prick your finger and watch the number after the meal. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I will be looking into that because I don't need that to happen anymore. It was really not fun for me. Anyway, those are all my stories for the week. It's New Year. I'm trying to balance out what my body can handle versus what I want my body to handle. I'm trying to balance out wanting to restrict my calories and finding out that I have low blood sugar issues and everything in between. And here's the thing, like they never popped up as a thing. Like I've never tested low blood sugar before. I've never tested. My blood sugars have always been lower, like on the low end. My A1C has always been beautiful, but I've never entertained the possibility that like a hypoglycemic episode is actually a thing. So with that being said, it's Q&A time. I've only got 10 minutes left, so give me your best questions, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to start with the ones I got on Instagram, which are, what are you currently reading? Well, that is a great question. What am I currently reading? I am working my way through. I need to be a lot more efficient about it. Kiss That Frog by Brian Tracy. It is the sequel, or it's the same author. I wouldn't even call it a sequel. It's the same author as the book Eat That Frog, which you guys may know is one of my favorite productivity books of all time. It is a short, quick read, and it is full of all of the information that all of the other self-help gurus gave you and probably stole it from that book. It's a wonderful book and it's a super quick read. And this one is a lot more about your attitude and how you approach the frogs in your life, whether they be a person or a situation. And it has been a little bit eye-opening and very it's been like I'm not into it as much as I'm into the productivity one, but it actually is very it's good information. It's just not captivating me in a way. You know what I mean? But it's still super good information. Hi Lauren. Oh, I'm glad you made it. Better late than never for sure. Not saying for just where there's a controversy about it. Interesting. Yes, it's a good one. It's full of some good relevant information. And then I am starting the Sharon Says So book club book, which is Know My Name by Chanel. I don't remember her last name, but it is a super heavy book. I believe it is about sexual assault. I don't know, but it is like her story. It's a memoir and it's the book club book for the month. And I can't say I'm excited to read it. I've heard rave reviews about this book. It's supposed to be really, really good, but it's heavy material. So I'm trying to decide when in my day is the appropriate time to sit down and read Know My Name, because I like to read like self-help in the morning and then like, do I want to read about this heavy stuff first thing in the morning? Do I want to read about this heavy stuff before I go to bed? Should I carve out like an hour in the afternoons to read this material? Because I totally skipped out on the first month's book about Samuel Adams because I just didn't care that much and was busy and whatever. But these next two books are really, really interesting to me. So there's that. That is what I am reading right now. And then the other question, I think, was about my celebrity crush. I want to confirm. What? Has anybody else noticed, does your Instagram, when you go and check your Instagram stories to see who has watched them, does your thing, do you guys, if you don't have a creator account, do you even have insights? There's usually a insights thing and a viewers thing, and it has been defaulting to the insights thing. It's never done that before. I change it back every time and it keeps going back to the insights thing. It's making me crazy. The question was, who is your celebrity crush? And my celebrity crush is a very niche celebrity crush, and that is Jeremy Jordan. He can sing unlike anybody else has ever been able to sing to me before. Oh, I love him. He's good looking. He's very, very funny. And man, that voice. If you know, you know. Do you guys have any idea who I'm talking about when I say Jeremy Jordan? If you don't know who I'm talking about, and you're somebody who has watched the TV show Supergirl, you probably know who I'm talking about. You just don't realize that you know who I am talking about. But oh my goodness, I love me some Jeremy Jordan. His voice is, there is nothing that can get to me quite like a singing man. Like, so that's a big step up. Big step. You go up in the rankings when you start to sing to me, which is why I love, like, my husband's not a singer by any stretch of the word, but when he goes all carefree, he'll start singing and it's adorable. And he's actually pretty good when he's not trying. And I love it. He'll just bust out, Susan, hi, I didn't know you were here. I'm reading fiction. Take me away from the reality we're living in. Magic Lessons, the prequel to Practical Magic. I listened to Magic Lessons. Isn't that the one that Sutton Foster narrates? You say you're listening to it. You're listening to it in Sutton Foster's voice, right? Am I crazy? I'm almost positive that that's the one that she narrated. And I loved listening to it. Like, yes, it was very good. I enjoyed listening to it, but like I enjoyed listening to it more because Sutton Foster was the narrator of the audiobook. And I just love listening to her voice, which is why I love listening to her narrate her own book as well. But yeah, that's my celebrity crush. And can't change my mind. My first celebrity crush is a tie between Patrick Swayze. I think we talked about this last week. Patrick Swayze and the green/white Power Ranger. I don't know which one of them came first. Yay! Oh, I love the Harry Potter books on Audible. I'm reading The Next Right Thing on my Kindle. Do I know that book? I feel like I know that book. Hey, I cracked open the Be Well by Kelly books. Like, I literally busted them out and took a picture of them, and I was like, I was so tempted to sit down in my chair and read them again. I have read them at least twice, and I have listened to them probably at least 2 more times. But I find that when I read them, when I'm regularly consuming them, I I am in more in the nutritional headspace that I need to be in because I'm constantly getting that input of information of this is the high end nutrition philosophy. This is the Fab Four. This is how you should be eating. This is how and it just kind of helps me dictate my other okay. That makes sense. It just kind of it's the constant inflow of information relevant to my goals, right? I also started listening to on Scribed. I started re-listening to Made to Crave because Made to Crave was very, very relevant to my goals for Lent and my goals for my body and everything. And so I was like, you know what? That's what I was listening to while I was doing housework and had my whole hypoglycemic attack thing. That's what was going through my ears while I was sitting there going, why am I dizzy and feel terrible? Um, that book is another one. It's like and like some of the things that she talks about, I'm like with everything, you take some of it, you leave some of it, and it's fine. But overall, the reminder and the intention behind the words is what's important, and that's what I was holding on to, which was really good. It was super helpful to be listening to that. It just joined your live. I was listening to the congressional hearings today. Oh my goodness. You're listening to the heavy stuff today. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Part of me is just like, just let it go. But I don't think you can. I'm starting the first book of the Lord of Reeds. Oh, goodness. Yes, I remember my husband. I've never read the books. We only recently, like before we left for Florida in November, like our summer project and in default project was watching all of The Hobbit and all of the Lord of the Rings movies. And I had never seen any of them. We watched the extended editions. It was a whole, like, we made a thing about it. We made a thing about it. And it was good. It was fun. But one of the things he always said, I was like, I don't think I'll ever read the books. And he goes, I didn't really read the books either because after he spent like 5 or 10 pages trying to describe the trees to us, I didn't want to read it. And I was like, yeah, I don't, that's fine. Like the movies did a great job of, well, I mean, obviously the movies weren't there at the time, but like, I don't need 10 pages to describe to me what I'm looking at. Yeah. Oh, I am so jealous. John Williams is a freaking genius. His his music is it's so good. I remember. I For those of you who don't know, I was in band from 5th grade all the way through my senior year of high school. And I think senior year is the first year that I wasn't in band and I wasn't into we switched directors and I wasn't into him, so I stopped. Because I knew I was going to school for musical theater. But one of my vivid memories was loving. We were in summer band. We were in my elementary school's multi-purpose room because that's where summer band for the junior high school students met, and we played a John Williams medley. And man, oh man, was that some of my favorite band music that I've ever played. And just John Williams is genius. He's absolutely genius. I'm jealous. I would have had a field day at that. That would have been good fun. Good fun. Yes, the movies are a doozy too. 100%. I listened to Lord of the Rings. It was awesome. Oh, listening to it like on Audible? That's smart. That's smart. Super descriptive anyway. It's very conversationally, which is tough. Interesting. Yeah, I have no need. I liked the movies. They were fine. But I don't have any reason to read the books. So, and there it is. It's 8:00. Oh, look at that. Thank you guys for having this conversation with me and listening to my little blurbs about everything. My new year, my schedule, my low blood sugar, all of the things. I will keep you all posted as to the continued and constant experimentation that I do on myself to figure out what exactly is the best balance for this CMT body that has goals, but also forgets that she has CMT sometimes. So I will keep y'all posted on all of that. And with that, I will let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you guys at the same time next week. Oh, and if you haven't already seen, I posted in multiple places today the schedule of Diva in the Divine events and upcoming things, and with some things that are of note to the entire community. It does have my whole list of Patreon only things on there, but I threw everything on there. A couple things of note is there is a new round of group coaching, Mindset and Macros 2023, that is going to be starting at the beginning of April. So if you want to be included in any of the VIP early sign up $50 discount situation, check your email for the email that I sent today, or message me to find out how to get on my VIP list, because there's not a link attached in this video yet. And then also you might have seen that I'm going to be hosting a silent co-working session for everybody in the public. Usually silent co-working sessions are just for my Patreon members, but I thought it might be fun to actually have one for everybody, so people who aren't in the Patreon can get a taste of what a silent co-working session is like. A silent co-working session is where we all show up on Zoom with a task that we need to do, and we do it silently together. There's no talking. We talk maybe at the beginning, be like, hey, what are you going to work on? Okay, cool. And then at the end, we check in and say, okay, how much did we accomplish? But everything else is done in silence. You are just in the same room as one another. And so it is an hour of designated productivity. And it's shocking how much you actually get done during those sessions because you have that hour of productivity. So I wanted to give the public an opportunity to try one of those out if they have never tried one before. So all of that is on the schedule. Go ahead and DM me if you have any questions of anything, and I will talk to you all next week.